If any further proof was required to convince anyone just how happy Aaron Rodgers is to be a member of the New York Jets, how much it means to him to win a Super Bowl with the New York Jets, and what he is willing to sacrifice to win a Super Bowl with the New York Jets, look no further than today's breaking news. Rodgers has restructured his deal and taken a $35 million pay cut. Unprecedented move by Rodgers. I'm Glenn Naughton with Jet Nation Radio, jetnation.com. Be sure to log on to jetnation.com where you can register and become a part of the most active Jets message board on the web, where people are no doubtedly doing backflips. You couldn't have asked for better than this, folks. Aaron Rodgers, despite going on the McAfee show, he said on Pat McAfee, look, if I go to the Jets, we're going to have to move some things around. Move some things around. He didn't move things around. He moved things off the table, out the window, however you want to put it. Most people speculated, myself included, that just meant void years and option years and into infinity and however many years of cap hits. That was one of the big negatives about the deal. Not the case. Rodgers, 2 years, $75 million guaranteed. Third year with an option for Rodgers. The Jets, $75 million over 2 is infinitely better than what any of us expected. We thought this was going to be 120, 130 over 2 with a few void years tacked on. Jets do a really nice job here. Joe Douglas, you can't say enough. A couple days after the anniversary of the big Jamal Adams trade, which of course ended up netting them Elijah Vera Tucker and Garrett Wilson. Just unbelievable, unbelievable news for the Jets. This cap, I mean, we hear it with players. You used to hear it with Tom Brady a lot. You'd see these media outlets praising these quarterbacks for taking these big pay cuts, and then you'd look into the numbers and see, okay, well they're making less this year than they would have, but they're getting that money back 3 or 4 years down the road. That's not what's happening here. All outlets reporting $35 million pay cut straight up. That again, Aaron Rodgers, there's nothing more he can do to show just how into this he is. This is not something I would have ever imagined. If you would have told me there was a pay cut involved, I would have thought, what, 5-6 million? Which, listen, to you and me is still a lot of money. 35 million, I'm really almost at a loss for words. And listen, for those of us who loved the deal but didn't love every aspect of it, it just made it that much sweeter. Because I said many times, I hated giving up the one without having any performance incentives attached. That's not going away. Whatever. The big concern, one of the big concerns, was that the Jets were going to be inheriting one of the worst contracts in NFL history, and it looked like they were going to have to find a way to pay Aaron Rodgers, well over $1 million, or $100 million for a year or two of play. Not the case. Not even close to that. Rodgers has the flexibility to stay for a third year. As we mentioned earlier, he touched on his presser, talking about whether or not he'll play beyond this season or next season. He said it'll come down to his body. We're not getting into all that right now. The news right now, Aaron Rodgers, huge, enormous pay cut. This will resonate in the locker room. Listen, there are guys in that locker room who are going to make a lot more than $35 million, but they're not there yet. And they're looking at Aaron Rodgers and thinking, wow, like this dude just left more money on the table than a lot of guys in that locker room combined have ever seen in their lives. You can't question his commitment now. You can't question how bad he wants this. And you can't question how much the locker room is going to have his back. He's now taking a deal that will not hamstring the Jets in future years. As, again, this was the expectation. This was sort of the fear with that deal. So if you're a Jets fan, you couldn't be happier with Aaron Rodgers taking the pay cut. You can't praise Joe Douglas enough for making this happen. You don't know how far in advance they knew this. Listen, as I said earlier, almost 100 days from announcement of the trade to announcement of the deal. And this is for a team where sources were saying that we would have details of the deal as soon as the trade was completed. So what they worked on before the fact, what they worked on after the trade, and what they've worked on up until today, nobody knows how things fell into place. But with the dust settled, everything being what it is, the Jets get Rodgers for a relative bargain. He is undoubtedly 1,000,000% all in. I can't imagine how Packers fans are feeling right now to know that what it was going to take to get him to stay in Green Bay versus what he was willing to take to be a New York Jet. But really, who cares? It's all about Aaron Rodgers is a New York Jet right now. He is as heavily invested as a player can be. Everybody should be pumped. I'm sure everybody is. More news to come in the coming days and weeks in terms of training camp and how he's gelling, blending with his teammates. I mentioned earlier, we're seeing the videos, the clips, how quickly this is coming together. Just all around exciting time. As a Jets fan, there's that one part of you that's waiting for the other shoe to drop, but forget that. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the fact the deal is done. The money is way better than anybody expected, and the Jets have a legend, a future Hall of Fame legend quarterback who is about as invested as a player can be in winning a championship. Great news for the Jets and their fans. Have a good one.